Warning, this channel and its contents is for adults 18 plus. This video is solely for educational and documentary purposes only. I do not condone any illegal activities. Everything in this video is legal, and I do not encourage use.
Hey guys, it's Hydro Growers. Welcome back to another Seed to Harvest featuring the Punchline and a breed between Crescendo number 2 and Endgame number 3, both from Ethos genetics. Alright, let's jump right into it, starting off with germination. I take my seeds and put them between two moist paper towels, and I set them in between two paper plates or regular plates, it doesn't matter. After 24 hours, you should start to see sprouts coming out of your seeds. This is a great sign, that means you're ready to plant. As you can see here, I start in 15-inch starter pots. I use a mix of Happy Frog with some perlite and Gaia Green 444 and Gaia Green 284 for flower. I also use earthworm castings from Gaia Green. This way of growing is considered organic and a sit it and forget it kind of method. Really, all you have to do is water the plants every few days or when the soil gets dry. This method is really good for the beginner grower. It is less of a hassle and great for photos. Honestly, I highly recommend doing it this way, especially if you're a beginner. By the way, that little black thing in the back is a little emergency light. There was a Hurricane Helene, I'm sure all of you know about it. Well, my power was out, I was using a generator. I had to keep turning it off and the little light helped. But power came back on after a few days and the girl survived. Here you can really start to see that growth explode. Right now, it's getting closer and closer to transplant. I like to transplant right at the day 30 mark. Usually, that's when they've used up all their nutrients in the starter pots and they're ready to go into 1 gallons or their final pot. I like to stick them into 1 gallons and transplant as many times to check on the roots and just make sure everything's going good. There's no root rot or anything like that. As the saying goes, big healthy roots equals big healthy fruits. And as we get closer to transplant day, we're going to be transplanting these starter pots into 5 gallons, not 5-gallon pots. We're going to be transplanting these into 1-gallon pots. I didn't mean to say 5-gallon pots. And then from 1 gallon to 5-gallon pots. These pots are going to be our flower pots that we flower in. And as you can see, these plants were growing massive. All three of these Ethos, but the two Punchline in the back were absolutely growing massive, just getting taller and taller by the day. I'm positive these were a sativa dominant, considering how tall they were getting, and the breed in the front, I'm thinking it was more of an indica dominant, considering how bushy it stayed out throughout the grow. And as you can see here, I've topped all the plants. And what topping does is it takes that one cola that would have grown into a Christmas tree like shape and takes it and turns it into 2 main colas, creating more of a bushier shape. You can top as many times as you want. Usually you only top about 2 to 3 times max in a grow, but depending on the grow, you may top more or less. For this grow, I topped the breed in the front only once, but the 2 Punchlines in the back, I topped them multiple times as I was trying to get them to slow down their growth to try to keep the canopy even with the breed in the front. As you can see though later on in the video, I kind of succeeded, kind of failed, but I did my best. As I said before, this was my first grow. I took all of my knowledge that I learned. I did a lot of research. I researched, and poured my absolute heart and soul into it, and just tried to get the best I could do. And it came out great, in my opinion. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Here you can really start to see those shapes come in. The sativas, the Punchlines, those are going to have the taller, longer spacing between the branches and the nodes. and the breed in the front, you can see it's real compact. The spacing is a lot closer to the nodes, and it's a lot more bushier just right off the bat. Really, this isn't good for a beginner having two different strains or two different kinds of breeds, because you really want an even canopy. But overall, I think this grow turned out great, and I'm really happy with the end weight and the end look. It really amazed me how you can go from a little seed to this beautiful plant that helps all kinds of people that suffer from many diseases and illnesses like PTSD and anxiety and stuff like that. Just, it's a beautiful plant, and I'm really excited to be growing it. Honestly, it is such a great experience. I'm glad to be sharing my experience all with y'all, and I hope you enjoy this. You can start to see here, I wasn't sure what was going on with my plants. They were starting to turn yellow, and I figured I had some kind of deficiency, and I started doing some research, and I had a nitrogen deficiency. And what I did to fix that nitrogen deficiency was add some more 444. And after a couple of weeks of watering it in, they started bouncing back. A good way to tell that you have a deficiency or something's wrong with your plant is checking the leaves. Your leaves will tell you everything that's going on. If they're off color, or if they're not growing properly, or if they look any kind of weird, curling, they look dry, anything like that, those could all be signs of some kind of problem going on with your plant. So always be looking at your leaves, and if you're unsure where to get like good information from or get some good help from, I have a Discord server that you can join. It is a really good community, all friendly people. You should go check it out. I am a co-owner there. Great community. We have all sorts of channels that you can join to show off your grow or to get the help that you need. Just You can just take a picture, ask a question, or if you want some expert one-on-one help, you can PM one of the moderators or just at one of us, and we can get the help that you need. Like I said, all friendly faces around there. Uh, Great people, good times always. Always looking for some more Gromies, and hope to see you there. It is called the Ganja House. Alright, back into the grow. We've flipped a flower now. We're ready to see some big juicy flowers. We got the scrognet on, trying to get that good screen of green. Had a little bit of a night video right there. As the plant flips into flower, it doubles in size. So the scrognet is in place to try to help keep that canopy all in the same area. As you can see, a couple branches started getting away. This is a scrognet from Spider Farmer. It came with the grow tent kit from Spider Farmer. We're not sponsored by them, by the way, but they're really great. You should go check them out. They got some really good quality stuff. And the pots that we're using are also from Spider Farmer. But the only downside about the scrognet that I'm using from Spider Farmer is that it is a fabric or cloth or whatever, stringy kind of scrognet. And those scrognets really aren't that good because they leave tiny little fibers all over the buds when you do go to harvest and you cut the scrognet down, because it is really, really hard to get it out of the branches. And that's the only downside, I'd say. But now I use a plastic scrognet, which is recommended. Those will 100% be better. You won't get little tiny fibers in your buds. But as you can see here, we got the little flowers coming in. I've been doing a few techniques from lollipopping to a little bit of super cropping. Just on that one branch right here, I did a little bit of super cropping on that branch. I didn't lollipop too bad on the breed because I wanted to get as much as I could. Might have been a mistake, not too sure, but after the plants are into flower, you really don't want to mess with them anymore, take anything off of them because it'll cause too much stress and they might herm, and you don't want that. Herming is where the plants grow seeds or they start producing pollen, which produces seeds. And these seeds aren't good seeds either. These seeds will always be a herm and will always be bad. So just don't harm your plants. Try to be as careful as you can with them in flower. Try to not allow any light leaks or anything like that. Try not to stress them out too much. Only low stress training from here on out. But as you can see, the plants are really starting to explode with growth, focusing all that energy on expanding their height, trying to get closer to the light, and then also fattening up those buds. You can see the buds are starting to get more and more frosty as well. But towards the end, I didn't realize that my VPD was off and my humidity was just way too low for the conditions, and the plants started getting real dry, and my frost, it looked frosty, but I'm sure I could have gotten a lot more frost because these plants were really dry. The leaves started getting really crisp and dry, and I just didn't want to have any mold or pest. As you can see, I got little traps just in case. Pest and mold love that high humidity environment. It's perfect for them. It's a perfect breeding ground, but it might have been a mistake. I had like 50% humidity. That was way. It was sometimes it was 30, way too low. And back on the frost, frost refers to trichomes. Your trichomes are what hold your THC, and basically it's the medicine in the plant. But nonetheless, the plants still came out super frosty and super sweet. They were very good, and I enjoyed them very much. As you can see here, the plants have stopped growing in height and are now focusing all their energy on fattening up the buds. And you can really start to see the buds double, triple in size, getting really big. So I know some plants and some genetics can grow huge colas. I'm talking all the way up to the top of the tent. This was not one of those grows, but I believe I did really good for my first grow, and I was really excited to see what was to come. Speaking of what's to come, I hope y'all are enjoying my content that I'm putting out. I know this is a little new. I'm doing an actual voiceover this time, so I'm sorry if I stutter a lot or pause a lot. I'm not used to this, and I'm still getting the hang of things. So just bear with me, and yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying. I am recording another grow season though. Unfortunately, it won't be a seed to harvest as I lost all the footage of basically from seed to about week 6, maybe week 5. And yeah, I will have another video coming out to you when those plants finish. They did just flip into flower today, as I'm editing this anyways. But back into the grow, you can see these buds have grown enormously since the last time we seen them. Well, not the last time we seen them, but last time we talked about them. And wow, would you look at those hairs. Those hairs are for collecting pollen. Once pollen collects on those hairs, they will start growing seeds. They will turn orange if they are messed with or if they collect pollen. You can really start to see that the buds are stacking on top of each other and really forming dense colas. I'm loving the frost on these guys, and like I said, I'm sure there could have been a lot more frost. I know the frost sometimes goes all the way up into the leaves. That did not happen for me. It was only on the buds. I'm pretty sure it was way too dry. So yeah, the frost only came up to the leaves onto the buds, but they were great, and this tent was smelling amazing. It takes about 5 weeks in the flower for the smells to start coming in, but after those 5 weeks, you still got 3 more weeks at least till you get your harvest in, and that's the part that sucks. The smells just want to make you harvest early. But remember, don't be impatient with your plants. They are taking their time for a good reason. They are about to give you the best quality they can give you. If you did everything right and you just let them grow, do their thing, train them, defoliated. I do a lot of defoliation, heavy defoliations, especially right before flower. I do one big heavy defoliation as much as I can. Especially now, I try to remove anything and everything below the scrognet before I flip the flower. But if I don't, then it's usually because I want it to grow up into over the scrognet and wanting it to catch up with the rest of the canopy so I can get more of that screen of green effect like I have here. And you can really start to see the colors start to come in for the plants, especially in the back. The ethos are starting to get darker, and what really helps with those dark colors, those purple hues, is your night temps. Dropping them night temps down to 60 degrees will 60 degrees Fahrenheit will help bring out that purple, as well as genetics. It also has to be in the genetics. If it's not in the genetics, then you're not going to get any purple. There will only be green, and there will only ever be green. So make sure the genetics you're getting has those purple hues if you want them. Purple plants have been known to be antioxidants like blueberries, so they're gut healthy and they're overall more healthier than a regular green plant. And in some cases, people say they also smoke better, but that's up to personal opinion. But here you can see that the plants are starting to claw real bad, and that is due to nitrogen deficiency. But they are also actively flushing themselves out. I do not feed them uh, anymore once I flip the flower. I don't do any top feedings. I let them finish out the nutrients in their pots, all the nutrients, uh, which is a lot. The Gaia Green, it holds on for a good month if you feed according to the feeding instructions, which is 3 tablespoons per gallon. And remember, the only time I'm feeding these plants are during transplants. I only top feed once during flower, if rarely, but that's if I see any like major deficiencies, then I will top feed, but only a little bit, because at that point they're already too late into flower or already too late into the growing process, to where when you add the food it won't matter, because Gaia Green is organic and it does take time for the microbes in the soil to break it down and be able to use it for the plants. And it's a whole process, but it is overall better for your growing. And all I've been doing, remember, all I've been doing up until this point is watering. I haven't been feeding them every day or feeding them every week. I've only been watering, and I've been adding microbes to the water, and that's it. Uh, just plain water that's been aerated through a little system. I do have a system. I can make a video on my system. It gives you fresh water, turns your tap water into oxygenated water. Well, just dechlorinates the water through aeration using an air stone and a 5 gallon bucket. But I can record a video on that and get that out to y'all guys to help you with that. It's a good way to get good clean water. It's going to be good for your plants, and the chlorine is not being soaked up into the plants, because as you know, cannabis plants are super absorbers. They take up everything in the soil. They are really good. Actually, hemp plants are really good for planting in desolate soils and making that soil fertile, just leaching up anything out of that ground, any contaminants or anything like that. Uh, Hemp plants are really good for that. But back into the grow, here you can see those colors really start to come in. Those dark hues of purple, that almost silver black light on the Ethos Punchline. And look at that breed. That breed is absolutely stunning. It is short and bushy, and a lot of it isn't getting a lot of light. There is a lot of small little buds that aren't getting a lot of light, which isn't ideal, but it is okay because as removing them, like I said before, that would cause too much stress and could cause harming. And in this grow, I did not experience any herming. You can see that some of the hairs are starting to turn orange. That is possibly from me touching them. I have been checking the trichomes with a jeweler's loop. It's a good way to see how your trichomes are coming along. You want to aim for a 15% amber to a 10% clear, and the rest being milky white. And I apologize if there's like anything I miss or if there's any information that I'm missing that you're not understanding or anything like that. Uh, I'm trying to cover it all as I go through it, but there is a lot to cover and I'm not used to it, but I can answer any questions you have in the comments. If there's anything you'd like to know on how I do things or how I grew these plants right here, this is my first grow, but I just put all my all into it and I used all the knowledge available to me. As you can see here, the plants are going into their full flush. You can start to see all their colors coming out. And flushing is where you don't give your plants any more nutrients. They're taking up all those nutrients as a last right, just using up all those nutrients. And it's time for harvest. The next morning, right before the lights turned on, I took the plants out and I harvested them. I took some large clippers, cut them, hung them up in the tent, zip tied them to some clothes hangers, hung them upside down, put them right in the tent, closed it up, and here's some visuals of that. Right now, this is, I believe, 2 or 3 days after being put in the tent. I'm doing a bin test right here. This test is to see how dry they are, and the snap test basically, if it makes a clean break or a snap, then your plants are done drying. Here they were done drying, and this is the trimming. This part is a long process. This is the longest process ever. I advise you getting some gloves, sitting down on a bed, and turning on some tunes. That is exactly what I did. I just sat down, and this took me about 12 hours. It was a QP, and here's my hash. Here's them jarred up for curing. Some great buds, by the way. Absolutely beautiful buds. I went for more of a natural look. I didn't mow them down. I carefully hand trimmed them. I really love how this grow came out. Anyways, the curing process, it takes anywhere from 2 weeks to a month to 6 months to indefinitely. It honestly depends on you. I would cure in jars and drop a hygrometer in there. If you dried your buds correctly, then your buds should be jarred at 58 to 62% humidity. This is because if it's any higher or any lower, then your buds are going to be either too moist and you might get bud rot or mold, or your buds are going to be too dry and they're going to dry up and be crunchy and just turn into dust. And you don't want that. If they're too dry, then you're losing your trichomes and you're losing terpenes and you're losing the quality and basically everything that you worked for. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And if you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments if there's anything I can improve or if there's anything you want to ask me about today's grow. But other than that, happy growing, and I'll catch you in the next one.